Ja, hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Star Control 2. Wir wollen uns jetzt mal so langsam mit dem Endgame beschäftigen, würde ich sagen. Indem wir uns mal die benötigten Ressourcen zusammensuchen. Und dafür scheint es mir doch klug, wenn wir uns vorher nochmal beratschlagen mit mit dem Kollegen Melnome. Bei dem können wir ja auch Informationen über aktuelle Entwicklungen kaufen und da haben wir vielleicht noch was Interessantes.
Welcome back, Captain.
Yep.
You are our favorite customer. Now, what can we do for you today?
I would like to make some
What
purchases.
great items would you like to buy today?
Information.
How wonderful, Captain.
Current events.
Ur-Quan are presently at war with a race called the Korra. They are fighting within a large spherical region of space, centered around the Craterus star group.
Craterus, merken wir uns
Although it is
mal.
probably too early to tell, it would appear that the Korra are winning.
Naja.
No doubt you are familiar with an alien race called the Unga, who live in the Orionus constellation.
Nee, noch nicht.
While they are renowned for their potent and often cruel sense of humor, they have outdone themselves in recent years. Specifically, they have used an unusual hyperwave caster to impersonate the little rat gods, Dogar and Kazan.
Ja, das machen ja nur ganz verwerfliche
Began
Kreaturen.
tuning in to the voices of their gods.
Das würden anständige Personen nie machen.
Receivers. The priest caste was understandably skeptical and counseled their many followers to ignore the blasphemous signals.
Yeah?
However, in a surprise move, the majority of the Ur-Rat then rose up and slaughtered the entire priest caste.
Das war gut für uns.
The reasons for this ghastly move included
Ach so,
overtaxation,
ja, ist immer das Gleiche.
lack of quality depth in ceremony,
okay.
and the general feeling that the priests had made Dogar and Kazan's pronouncements overly complex.
Ja. Die guten alten Gesetze der Propaganda. Es ist, es möglichst schön einfach halten, damit es alle verstehen und immer schön schwarz-weiß malen. Wunderbar. Mehr Information, bitte.
As you know, there are weaknesses in the division between dimensions. For example, your vessel uses such weaknesses to enter hyperspace. However, there are other weak spots
Ja,
in the
das
galaxy
wissen wir doch
which
schon.
lead to yet different dimensions. One such portal exists nearby, between the Chandrasekhar and Kolam Bay constellations. The portal opens only a short
Ja,
time
alles
each
schon.
month, starting on the 17th. Since we have never entered the portal, we can give no more information on this subject.
Da könnten wir dir eine ganze Menge Informationen verkaufen, aber das siehst du leider nicht, denn
As you are
das möchtest du
probably
nicht. Okay.
aware, Ur-Quan starships, you call them dreadnoughts, I believe, possess effective self-annihilation circuits, which prevent other races from reverse engineering Ur-Quan technological secrets.
Jetzt erzählst du mir von dem Wrack. Ja.
We have become aware of a shipwrecked dreadnought, which has remained largely intact. You will find the remains of the ship on the surface of a blue world orbiting Alpha Pavonis.
Ja, haben wir auch so
We
gefunden.
suspect you will find at least one item of interest there, possibly two.
Ja, wir haben nur eins gefunden, aber egal.
You may have noticed the presence of an increasingly
Lass mich mit den Red Probes in Ruhe, die haben wir sowas von vergessen inzwischen.
not more than 50 years ago. The Druge were informed by the now extinct Pervixies race of a powerful alien nation called the Utwig.
Ach, die Debris.
The Pervixies explained were pleasant, sophisticated creatures.
Nicht mehr, würde ich
But they
sagen.
were also terminally depressed and often spoke about ending their lives by activating a super weapon, some kind of gigantic bomb, which they had found on one of their worlds. Zeta Heidi 6b.
Okay, das merken wir uns mal mit dem Ausrufezeichen.
Recognized the description of the bomb as a precursor planetarium tool,
Genau das Teil
which
brauchen wir.
indeed was an explosive device of unrivaled power, and they set out to make it their own. Though the revolting, criminal, insidious Druge rarely leave their sphere of influence.
Wir sind ja auch festgekettet.
Argol, Almagas, and the Persei stars. They made a special trip on this occasion to the Aquarii constellation, where they made contact with the Utwig. There is a device commonly known as the Ultron. Is it now in your possession? Ah, I see. The Druge sold this device to the Utwig, explaining that it was a precursor personal magnifier, which would enrich the lives of their entire culture in too many ways to describe specifically. The Utwig, I am sorry to say, fell for the Druge's foul ruse and snapped up the Ultron immediately. Fortunately for us all, the Utwig did not pay the Druge's requested price, the super bomb, and instead gave him a collection of historical oddments and genuine artifacts, which to this day the Druge are trying to unload on unwary buyers.
Ja, okay.
The Utwig, who live in the Aquarii constellation, have grown very depressed of late. They accidentally broke the supposed Ultron sold to them by the felonious
Kaputt ist es
Druge.
auch noch.
As a consequence, they are morose and melancholic, and will probably be unwilling to help you
Ja,
fight
das
the
haben wir schon
Ur-Quan.
gemerkt.
If you wish to gain them as allies, we recommend that you acquire the broken Ultron, as if it ever worked,
Ja,
and find some suitable replacement parts. Our information indicates that you could find these items in 3 different places.
ja,
A rosy sphere
Ja,
at the
danke.
Druge trade world,
haben wir schon.
an aqua helix somewhere in Thredash space,
Das Ding brauchen wir noch.
and a clear spindle, which is currently in the possession of the Pekak. Captain, that was
okay.
the last current event we have for sale.
Ach, ich verkaufe die Current Events, nicht Information über die Current Events, ich verkaufe die Current Events, das ist auch nett. Ja, dann sind wir hier auch fertig.
What else would you like to buy?
Na komm, zum
How
Fuel.
much fuel do you wish to purchase? Fuel transferred to your vessel.
Dankeschön.
It has been a pleasure dealing with you, Captain. We look forward to your next visit.
Ja, dann würde ich sagen, werden wir uns jetzt mal zu den Utwig aufmachen müssen. Ne? So, das machen wir auf die übliche Weise. Nehmen wir die Maus mal aus dem Fenster. Wo sie die ganze Zeit war, wie ich jetzt erst merke. Entschuldigung. Starmap. Okay, das ist Utwig. Die sind, okay, das sind da oben. Oben rechts. Dann nehmen wir dieses Portal. So. So, wie sieht eigentlich die Lage mit den Ur-Quans aus? Die sind immer noch am Leben. Aha, okay. Eine Sekunde mal kurz. So, wieder zurück. Wir wollen... Da, genau, da wollen wir irgendwo hin. Wo wollen wir denn mal... Da wollen wir hin. So, meine Freunde. Gott, auf welchem Planeten sitzt ihr denn? Auf dem da in der Mitte? Also dem... Oh, lass uns mal durch. Schauen wir mal, ob das hier die Homeworld ist. Sieht so aus. Oh ja, das sieht so aus.
Normally, we would not bother to acknowledge your presence. But you find us in a state of moderate depression.
Moderate, ja.
Instead of our normal cycle of self-destructive tendencies.
Und ein bisschen erkältet mit der Nase, oder? Also wegen... Also egal. I detect that recent events have not gone your way. Why don't you start at the beginning?
All right, I'll try. But you know, it really doesn't matter. After all, we have a famous bootwig saying, when one loses the reason for existence, one tends to get less motivated.
Das ist soweit richtig.
This goes hand in hand with the painfully appropriate credo, we broke it, so we are paying for it.
Aha.
Of course, this isn't really accurate. The situation is so much more hideous. Imagine, if you can, holding within your hands the answer, only to have it taunt you with its former potential. Ah, cruel irony. The loss of the Ultron grieves us all.
Loss. Yes, of course, the Ultron. We grieve. How sad. Now, what was it again?
It doesn't matter.
Das stimmt, aber trotzdem...
Besides being of no concern to you,
Ja, richtig.
I find discussion of this matter, well, distasteful.
Nur hab dich nicht so.
The Ultron was not the only thing which assures total and complete meaning of life for you and I. It is universal. I'm sure that you two are aware of this thing. If only in legend,
Ja, bin ich.
it granted us all limitless power and knowledge.
Das wusste ich nicht.
It has been since, well, rendered inoperative.
Das ist doof, aber wo ist es? That reminds me when my pet dog snipped around in front of a rocket shipper.
You are kind. If we could wield the Ultron to resurrect your splib,
A splib.
we would.
Ja,
But
glaube
I
ich.
suddenly am overcome with waves of depression.
Ja,
I must retire now to perform rituals of anguish. Waves of trauma wash across my being even now. I must go.
das ist nicht hilfreich. Ihr seid schwierig.
Alien vessel. Grieve for the loss of both the Utwig and the universe.
Ich will doch nur
at
wissen, wo es ist.
We know nothing of this species that you mentioned.
Das bringt uns nicht weiter.
Your query once again painfully
Ja,
reminds
genau.
me
Ultron, da
of
wollen wir
Ultron
weitermachen.
and what it was for
Ja.
the universe. I could tell you all
Ja.
and correct all that is wrong in the universe. All I can tell you
Ja,
is that
das,
the Core lived to kill.
Vergiss die Core, ich will wissen, wo das
Their
Ultron-Ding
stated
ist.
purpose is to seek out new life and new civilizations and then annihilate them. We seem to qualify as such, and that is why it is puzzling that after pursuing us with some tenacity, they suddenly turned away and headed toward Craterus. All this speculation would be unnecessary if only we had saved the Ultron.
Ja, habt ihr aber nicht. Wo ist es?
Have taken much. A diving catch, a thrown pillow.
Ja, ist es euch runtergefallen. Okay, verstehe. Ja, das, oh Gott. Wirklich.
There were at least 623 ways that the Ultron could have been saved if we had been prepared.
Ja, das ist meistens so.
Let us cease our discussion concerning these matters.
Truly unique set of events put in your current state, am I right?
To say the least. Our past is one of a glorious and proud people, coupled with the cataclysm that rocks the universe to its very core. It all began when the chimps rose from the murky bog, and the Utwig emerged as well. In these primitive times, we cavorted about our world, oblivious to any sort of higher purpose. We took everything at face value. Meanwhile, the tendrils of the chimp infiltrated the vast sky canopies of Five, and then the veils fell. Suddenly, the Utwig were stunned by a collective realization. All immediately and urgently donned veils of every description: hides, leaves, shells,
Zählt's jetzt nicht alles auf.
even living drowls were donned in the early days. You see, the face is the mechanism that expresses many of the primitive qualities that hinder sentience. Now rid of constant reminders of greed, rage, hatred, and lust, the wisdom of the Utwig was no longer hampered by constant reminders of the primitive urge. Over many generations, mask etiquette was refined to a rock-solid foundation of our society. Sure, the morality riots were expensive, both in lives and infrastructure, but the result was better mask regulation. Specification from your basic mask of grueling but necessary activity to the most highly decorated countenance of stellar representation. These were clearly defined, recognizing the importance of flexibility. Clear-cut and efficient procedures for revision and redesign dealt with the few anomalies. From that moment, when we covered the source of our intellectual oppression, we knew that it was a grand purpose that defined our destiny. Are you still listening?
Oh, yeah, natürlich.
Our entire development as a sentient species was coordinated to coincide with the appearance of a remarkable device, the Ultron.
Ja?
We were oblivious to its tragic implications.
Okay, ich würde sagen, hier machen wir dann beim nächsten Mal weiter. Das scheint sich ja noch etwas in die Länge zu ziehen, bis wir hier die interessanten Informationen kriegen, falls wir sie überhaupt kriegen. Okay, dann sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal hier wieder mit unserem freundlich, fröhlichen Utwig-Freund. Also, bis dann. Tschüss.